For the last 2 years, you could argue that President Biden has been the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Think about it. After crashing and burning in the debates, caucuses, and primaries, he was gifted the nomination because he was the only one who could stop socialist populist Bernie Sanders, who would have lost 45 states in the general. Speaking of the general, his opponent, President Donald Trump, is one of the best campaigners ever, right? Yet Joe, a two-time presidential failure, couldn't draw a dozen people to a huge stadium. Then suddenly, Lucky Joe became the only one I know to benefit from the pandemic. The candidates were off the road by force. President Trump could not rally, and Joe had an excuse to stay home. Combine that with the Trump-hating press and massive new voting rules, Joe Biden had the White House. But now it seems Scranton Joe's luck is running out.
Not exactly the Copacabana, is it?
Oh, I don't feel good about this, Sam. Maybe tonight's the night Joe luck runs out.
Maybe so.
Despite an overly compliant press, as I mentioned, Biden's approval hovering around 40%. Some have it at 36%. Only 16% of the adults in this country think we're heading in the right direction as a nation. Believe it or not, President Biden's average approval is actually lower than President Trump's at this time and below that of every other one of his predecessors dating back to World War II. And he's furious about it. You know, I'm used to the president blaming Republicans, but this is a new one. He's taking aim at his own White House. Rumbles of a staff shakeup amid NBC reporting, and other outlets too, by the way, that the Biden White House is adrift and rife with management breakdowns. In fact, he's at war with his own communications team. Then there's the family problem. He has protected his family for 40+ years. Now there's cracks in some of that family protection. Even crack and hooker enthusiast Hunter Biden. Now networks are suddenly examining his dicey deals with enemy nations, affirming the laptop from hell is actually his laptop. Could it be closer for Hunter to actually feel an indictment? And his brother Jim Biden is feeling the heat, doing a rare interview claiming he is not the fixer of the family, even though Joe called him the fixer of the family.
My brother Jimmy fixes everything.
Oops. But the question is, what story is Uncle Jim trying to get ahead of? Hunter's indictment or his own? There's no question about it. 500+ days in, this is not where Joe Biden thought he would be with his presidency, and definitely not where his supporters thought things would stand. We are seeing historic inflation zapping the savings of everyday Americans, delaying retirements, vacations, car purchases, home improvements, a labor shortage with no end in sight, hamstringing big businesses and small. And record gas prices stressing families, diesel prices crushing truckers. But don't expect things to get better anytime soon, and don't blame Joe.
The idea we're going to be able to, click a switch, bring down the cost of gasoline is not likely in the near term, nor is it with regard to food.
So inspirational. But we can trace many of these problems back to your policies, Mr. President, the latest of which is the baby formula crisis. Possibly the most irreplaceable thing in America is somehow impossible to find. Baby formula executives saying this week they knew shutting down a plant in February would cause this to happen. In fact, they told the president that. And they warned the FDA right away when they shut down the plant in Sturgis. Yet somehow the Biden administration was kept out of the loop.
I don't think anyone anticipated the impact of the shutdown of one facility in the Abbott facility. And so once we learned of the extent of it and how broad it was, we kicked everything into gear.
Really? Too late, Joe, and that's just not the case. And if you were hoping to get an answer from the new press secretary about the chain of events, I'm sorry to disappoint you. You probably will not get that from her.
Someone called here at the White House to say this could be an issue that requires presidential involvement.
So I don't have the timeline on that.
On the issue of who briefed the president on baby formula, to say there is no specific person is not a satisfactory answer.
I think what I'm trying to say, there's so many issues that come up that is presented to the president. As you know, you've covered many administrations, and there are just regular channels that happen.
You notice that was CBS and that was NBC. You're not helpless on this, Mr. President. You got energy costs, supply chain, and inflation. You are just more worried about AOC than you and me.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.